Is weird, odd, strange, or just plain bizarre is really your cup of tea? Then, the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast will give you that fix. Can't believe it? Well, listen for yourself as we deliver the strangest news you definitely won't find on CNN or Fox. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the GSMC Weird News Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Colleen, and let's just get into some weird stuff. So, I didn't know what to talk about today, to be honest. And sometimes it just happens like that. Sometimes I've got great ideas all week, and sometimes I just don't know what to talk about. So, I was driving on over and thinking about, what can I talk about? And I thought about a bunch of different ideas, but was on the fence, and then last minute I thought, why don't we talk fast food? I don't think we've talked really food related. We've talked a lot music related, we've talked a lot of stuff. We've talked some job related stuff, and I thought we would talk fast food. So, let's talk about some weird fast food facts. So this is not just only about like specific fast food chains, but this is also just about fast food in general. So we kind of had a broad area to talk about and a lot of fun, weird facts to talk about. So let's start off with the number one food chain that you think of when you think fast food, and that's going to have to be McDonald's. So apparently, McDonald's is visited by 90% of American children on a monthly basis. That's insane. I mean, I'm not surprised though, because, you know, they offer toys, they offer this and that. When I was younger, I remember like you wanted McDonald's and that was a treat and that was something fun, you know? So I know a lot of children, I don't know a lot of children, but, like family members, children and whatnot who, you know, they're like, I want McDonald's, and you're like, yeah, no, you're not getting McDonald's, you're gonna eat the salad that I made for dinner. But I'm not surprised that it's a large amount of children that eat McDonald's on a monthly basis. I'm more surprised at the fact that it's 90% of American children. That's a ridiculous number. Now, let's move on to burger facts. So, we talked about McDonald's, and this is not specifically about one burger chain or another. This is just about the burgers you're going to get from a fast food restaurant in general. So, apparently, one fast food hamburger contains meat from up to 100 different cows. So, you're not getting, like, the one cow beef. You're getting a plethora of different cattle beef. That's what you're getting out of this. It's just a mishmash of beef into ground beef. Which I wasn't expecting to get grade A Kobe beef from a fast food restaurant. I mean, if you do, I want to know where this fast food restaurant is. Just saying. And I bet you it's not a cheap restaurant. But along with the burger comes the classic fries. Now, according to my research, French fries are actually the most popular type of fast food in America, which I'm not surprised about, but which fast food French fries rank the unhealthiest? So apparently Dairy Queen's regular size fries have more than 700 calories, whereas Arby's have around 600 and McDonald's have around 570. So either that's a lot, that's a lot of calories. But I'm actually kind of surprised that Dairy Queen's regular fries have more calories in it than the McDonald's fries. McDonald's fries are probably my favorite fast food fries. I remember in high school I used to go and get them, like, I'd go with friends and we'd buy, like, large fries and we'd just dump them out on the tray at the place and we'd just eat the fries. They're always so good. Do I do that now? Absolutely not. But let's move on to a specific fast food chain, and that would be Wendy's. I Love Wendy's. Now, everybody, when you think of Wendy's, thinks of the Frosty. Wendy's is the only place that has the Frosty, and it's delicious. So apparently a Frosty contains 14 ingredients, which is kind of crazy to think about it. Apparently some of those ingredients are actually thickening agents that kind of spruce up the Wendy's Frosty itself. So it's a lot more than you think that goes into it, but yeah, 14 ingredients. That's a lot more than I thought. I'm thinking like ice cream, you know, not like a whole plethora of this, that, and then some. But I do love a good Wendy's Frosty. Chocolate all the way. Do love a good Wendy's Frosty. Now, from Wendy's, let's talk Taco Bell. So I think this is kind of funny because in the area that I'm in, there is a Taco Bell that is literally right across the street from a Wendy's. So we're kind of like hopping down the line, at least down the street from me. But Taco Bell salad has more than 52 grams of fat. That's a lot of fat in a salad. But if you think about it too, majority of Taco Bell's like foods are just the same food in different packaging. That's really what it is. Like the taco, the burrito, you've got, you know, it's all the same stuff in the in like a different packaging. So if you're looking to get a Taco Bell salad, you're basically just getting everything else. I don't know. But with that being said, you would think that ordering a salad would still be better, even if it's the same type of ingredients, you're getting something else. You're like, oh, I'm ordering a salad, I got more veg, I got, you know, that kind of thing. But apparently, in the specific salad that I'm talking about, which is the salad in the, like, taco shell bowl thing, apparently that's got higher fat than 5 regular tacos combined. So maybe if you're gonna go to Taco Bell, just get a taco. Just get a few tacos, like, cause, a salad's not gonna help you out much here, let me tell you. Now let me give you a little bit of advice. If you're gonna go and get salad at a fast food restaurant, maybe just go to the grocery store and get one of their little, like, pre-made salad bowl things that comes with the dressing and, you know, whatever toppings with it, because that's gonna cost you way less than going to a fast food joint to get a salad that is not going to be very good, not going to be very fresh at all, and you're probably going to have some nasty lettuce. Just saying. Better off, you know, just going to the grocery store. You're wasting your money if you're going to go get a salad at a fast food joint. Just want to say that. I just want to put that in there. Now, I'm not trying to, like, make you not want to go and get fast food. Like, that's to each their own. I get fast food a lot sometimes, and, you know, it's just life. It's fast, it's easy, it's quick, and sometimes it's delicious. But I'm just kind of wanting to bring you with this podcast into the light of some strangeness that surrounds the fast food world as a whole. I mean, there are so many, like, documentaries about fast food out there and that kind of stuff, but I just wanted to focus on the weirder facts that I have found about the fast food industry as a whole, not only specific fast food restaurants, but also just fast food in general. Everybody eats fast food. I eat fast food. You eat fast food. We all eat fast food. Yay! Like, it's just kind of how it goes. There are some that are supposed to be healthier than others and some that aren't, but I'm not discouraging you from eating that burger that you're eating right now while you're listening to this. Please don't stop eating that burger just because it's made from more than one cow. Like, for real, I'm not trying to stop you from eating anything that you're eating right now, or from taking that trip to the store or to the fast food joint because you really want a burger. Not trying to do that. Just kind of want to bring you into the weirder facts about it. Not trying to stop you. Just saying. Just wanted to put this, like, I really wanted to put this in here just so you know that I'm not like, don't eat fast food, it's the devil. It's not. There are many other things that are the devil, and fast food is probably one of the lower things on that list. Just saying. I don't know. I'm going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some more weird fast food facts.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts. Past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
Welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Podcast. Now, before the break and this entire podcast, we're talking about weird facts that have to do with the fast food industry and restaurants and all that kind of stuff. So, we talked about McDonald's, we talked about beef, we talked about French fries, and we talked about salads. But let's move it on over to something kind of disgusting. I thought I'd just throw this in here right away so we could get over with it and then move on to the rest of them. This is gross, but also it's not going to stop me from drinking sodas at fast food places. So let's talk about this. Fountain soda machines contain fecal bacteria. Studies show that about 48% of fountain drink dispensers have traces of fecal bacteria on them, which is absolutely disgusting, but at the same time, it's not going to stop me from getting a soda at a fast food joint. I'm just saying, like, it's not going to stop me. It's disgusting. Don't get me wrong, but it's not going to stop me. Let's move on before I just keep talking about the nastiness that is fountain soda machines. But let's move on to the fact that Americans actually don't visit fast food chains the most. Surprise, surprise, shocker. It's actually Hong Kong that ranks number one, with 61% of the population visiting a fast food chain at least once per week. America actually came in 8th, with only 35% claiming to eat fast food once per week. But let's also talk about this as claiming to eat fast food, and you're not going to sit there and be like, well, let me tell you actually how much I get fast food in a week. Like, you're going to be like, oh, maybe like once a week or every other week, but I know that you are out there at that fast food joint 3 times a week. And that's okay. That's fine. Do you. You eat that fast food, you do what you want. But, like, for real, I'm not surprised, though, that it is Hong Kong. Hong Kong has a lot of people and I don't know, it's constantly moving. Everything's constantly moving, constantly going. So I can imagine that, 61 of the population visits a fast food chain at least once per week. And I mean, that's okay. That's okay. Let's bring it back around to burgers. So apparently hash browns are actually worse than cheeseburgers. Hash browns contain more fat and calories than a cheeseburger or even a Big Mac. So I'm assuming that they are specifically talking about the hash browns when it comes to McDonald's. In my research, I couldn't find like the exact, they were just like, oh, hash browns are worse. So don't shoot me. It's not my research. It is my research, but it's not, I couldn't find anything about it. But, I don't know. I like those hash browns. I like those hash browns in the morning. They go along with my very fattening, delicious breakfast. I think if you're gonna go get a cheeseburger and you want some hash browns, go all out, man. Just eat what you want. I'm a big advocate for eat what you want. But you should just kind of be careful, because sometimes things don't mix well in the stomach. Or, if you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to do this, maybe don't get hash browns with your breakfast. Or whatever. That's to each their own. I love the hash browns. I'm a little surprised that they contain more fat than a cheeseburger itself, but that's not going to stop me. It's not going to stop me from adding a hash brown to that, just saying. I mean, I'm not the healthiest person when it comes to eating, even though I should be, and I try to sometimes. But I mean, right now, I'm sitting here drinking a Starbucks triple shot energy extra strength, which tastes absolutely wretched. But I'm drinking that, and I'm eating garlic and butter seasoned croutons. No salad, just the croutons. So don't take food advice from me. I mean, you shouldn't. Don't take food advice from me. But take these facts from me. Take them from me because these are factual. My eating habits are not. So let's move on to milkshakes. I love a good milkshake. I love a good malt more than I love a milkshake. But I still love a good milkshake. So we're talking specifically here about strawberry milkshakes. Now, I'm not a big strawberry milkshake fan, strawberry ice cream fan. I love chocolate ice cream and chocolate milkshakes and chocolate malts. But there are a lot of people out there that do like strawberry milkshake, strawberry malt, strawberry ice cream, all that kind of stuff. My husband is one of those. I know a lot of people who love the strawberry. Just saying. But apparently strawberry milkshakes actually contain more than 50 different chemicals. So it's the strawberry flavoring that contains these chemicals, some of which are used in perfumes. So, maybe just make your own strawberry milkshake, just saying, or don't order a strawberry milkshake. This is really weird. I had no idea that there were chemicals in the strawberry flavoring in strawberry milkshakes, and I assume that there are a lot of places that actually don't have chemicals in their strawberry milkshakes because they're using fresh strawberries and that kind of stuff. But I could see how it is or could be in a lot of different, fast food, milkshakes. That's the word I'm looking for, milkshakes. Oh, we're at the beginning of this and I'm already losing it. It's just more entertainment for you guys while I eat my garlic butter croutons and tell you how bad fast food is, because, why not? But on a real note, though, maybe you should just make your own strawberry milkshake at home, or, go somewhere that you know that your milkshake is going to be not chemically. Just saying. But let's move on to the fact that fast food restaurants aren't slowing down any time soon. No matter how bad we know the food is for us, we still continue to eat it. And it's because it's convenient and it really doesn't taste that bad. And sometimes you're just too tired to cook dinner, or, you don't want to go to the store because you don't have a specific ingredient, or, something around those lines. And so you're just going to be like, oh, it's easier to go get, the Wendy's that's right down the road, or the Taco Bell, or the McDonald's, or the whatever other fast food joints I can't think of at this particular moment there are. And I get it. They're not gonna slow down anytime soon. They're major corporations that make a lot of money, and it's okay. I mean, I am very guilty of eating a lot of fast food because I just don't want to, cook, or I don't want to go to the store because I need all these ingredients and I could just, buy something that's already prepared, that's not going to take me any time. But honestly, it's probably better if you just make things yourself. The food can taste better. You can make things that are on the fast food menu better at your own home, and to your own liking, with your own sauces, your own fun stuff, and that's always going to be a lot better than going to get it. But I definitely know that fast food joints are not going to be slowing down anytime soon. They're just going to keep on that steady pace going forward, and it's going to be fine. But maybe if you're like me and you eat a lot of fast food, try and take a week off of fast food, or a few weeks, and challenge yourself to really cook more. I need to do this. Am I going to do this week? Absolutely not. But, I always find that the things I cook taste better, or are more to my liking than if I would have gotten it somewhere, and I love that. I do love to cook and do that kind of stuff, but my sheer laziness gets the best of me sometimes. But maybe challenge yourself. Maybe that's a good way to kind of push through that. Now, I'm going to take a quick break, and when I come back, we're going to talk about some more weird fast food facts.
This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
Welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Podcast. Now, this entire podcast, we've been talking about weird fast food facts. Facts about specific fast food restaurants and facts about fast food restaurants as a whole. I want to take this next segment to talk specifically about specific restaurants, if that makes sense. Specifically about specific things. But let's talk about specific fast food restaurants. There we go. This Starbucks triple shot energy, whatever it is that I have gotten is giving me way too much. So let's just continue on and start off with the number one, McDonald's. Now, this is kind of surprising, but also at the same time it's not. Whereas McDonald's is the world's largest toy distributor. And I mean, thanks to their Happy Meals, that's why. And it's not surprising to me because there are so many, as we talked about earlier, is like 90% of American children eat or have McDonald's at least once a week. So that's constant Happy Meal toys and this and that. And honestly, when I go to McDonald's, I usually get a Happy Meal too. Because, I can get apple slices or Go-Gurt and a chocolate milk and a toy. Yes, please. But I'm not surprised because there are so many children that are, getting these Happy Meals constantly. And, there's toys in every single one. So I'm not surprised. But let's move on to another fast food restaurant, Arby's. So there's a photoshopped ad that led Arby's, to create a new sandwich, and I know this sandwich very well. In 2014, an ad designed to showcase Arby's different meat options, where they stacked all the meats on top of each other and put them into, Photoshop them into a sandwich, which was stacked high with every variation of their meat options available. And then customers started asking for the sandwich they saw in the ads, which birthed the meat mountain. Now, I've had two friends of mine, my brother-in-law and another friend of mine, who got this sandwich. My brother-in-law got it a few years back when it was on the menu, it was meat mountain sandwich, try it if you dare, and we were joking about it, and so we got him this meat mountain sandwich. This thing is ridiculous. It's not as tall as depicted, obviously, because there are so many tricks to make meats look better and sandwiches look better when it comes to advertising. But this sandwich is ridiculous. He said his stomach did not feel good after this. Now, then I think it was earlier this year or the end of last year, my other friend, we went to Arby's and he was like, I'm really hungry, I'm really hungry and I want a lot of sandwich. I was like, then just get the meat mountain. And so I ordered the meat mountain. It actually wasn't on the menu, but they made it for him, and he was like, no, this isn't going to be enough. And then he ate this meat mountain and was like, this is too much. This is a lot of sandwich. It is a lot of sandwich. It is a real thing. And a lot of times, like I said, when I ordered it for my friend, it wasn't on the the menu, but you can get this sandwich anywhere. You just ask for the Meat Mountain. They'll be like, it's not on the menu. And then they'll ask if they can make it for you. Just saying. So that's a real thing. You can get the Meat Mountain, and it is a lot of sandwich. So I suggest you don't order anything else if you plan on getting Meat Mountain. Now let's talk about KFC. So actually, Colonel Sanders opened another restaurant after KFC, which I found this really interesting, and it's called Claudia Sanders Dinner House, excuse me. I can read. And they say after he perfected his fried chicken recipe and he saw the KFC grow to be this billion-dollar company, KFC also changed their chicken and gravy recipes to something that didn't meet his standards. So he ended up hating the new food so much that he opened a new fried chicken restaurant to compete with the chain that he had started himself. So he loved his recipes, everything was great, and then literally started another restaurant because they had changed it so much he hated it, to compete with his own restaurant. So he's competing in a restaurant with his own restaurant. But honestly, I don't think that Claudia Sanders is going to do any better than KFC, since KFC is already this billion-dollar company in and of itself, and it's fast food, and this seems to be more of a, like, dinner restaurant type of deal. So I think he's secretly competing with himself, but at the same time, he's just opened up a legit restaurant. I mean, I guess that's one way to do it if you're just so fed up. And I can understand being so fed up after you've, like, perfected this fried chicken recipe. You want to show it to the world. You show it to the world. They love everything about it, and then next thing you know, they're starting to change things because it's fast food, it's a different world, it's not, it's not a restaurant business. So, well, I guess it is technically a restaurant, but you know what I'm saying. So he's like, you know what, let's just, I'm gonna make another restaurant, and it's gonna be fantastic. And it might be really, really good. I've never been there. I'm not 100% sure where this is. Big guess, Kentucky. But, I don't know, where this is. I've never seen this before, and I thought it was really strange that he started a chain, or I guess a restaurant, to compete with his own restaurants. I don't know, it's weird. Have you ever been there? If you have, let me know. I'm really curious if anybody's actually been to this Claudia Sanders, or what, I believe it's Claudia Sanders. Yeah, Claudia Sanders restaurant or not. If you have, tweet me at GSMC_weird news, or you can hit me up on the Facebook, which is GSMC Weird News on Facebook. Like, hit me up on those platforms and let me know if you've ever been here, because I'm very curious if the food is delicious. Now, before we end up taking a break, let's talk about Subway real quick. So Subway was actually sued for short sandwiches. This is something I knew, and still something that's very strange to me. So customers doubted the name of the Subway's footlong, and started breaking out rulers to measure their sandwiches. And the sandwiches ended up being only 11 inches in length. And so they were sued. Subway ended up fighting back, saying it's just a descriptive term, but ultimately settled the suit and agreed to measure all their sandwich breads to be a foot long sandwich. So you should be getting a foot long if you're asking for a foot long at Subway now via the law at this point. I mean, I get the, like, $5 foot long. It's supposed to be a foot long. That's also a lie. It's not $5. But anyway, it's supposed to be a foot long sub. You're looking for 12 inches in a sandwich. But I don't think, in my personal opinion, that it was really worth breaking out a ruler and being like, this is only 11 inches and I have a problem. I honestly wouldn't have a problem with having an inch off my sandwich. Just on a personal note, if any of you guys feel the opposite way, let me know. Let's talk about it on the social medias, because I want to know if you would have a problem if you got a foot long sandwich and it was only 11 inches in length. I want to know. I really do. I personally don't think I'd have an issue with it. It's 11 inches. It's still a sandwich. Like, I'm getting what I want. But do you feel like you're getting gypped by only getting 11 inches instead of 12 inches out of a Subway sandwich? Just let me know. But I know that now it should be 12 inches exactly, because they were sued and they settled, agreeing to measure all their sandwich breads from then on. Also, if you work at Subway, do you measure them or do they come in measured? Just curious. Now, I'm going to take a quick break, and when I come back, we're going to talk about some more weird fast food facts.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC, Invicta FC, Bellator, and One Championship. We got the fights covered. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts. Past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
Welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Podcast. Now, this entire podcast, we have been talking, and we are still talking, about weird fast food facts. I just made myself out of breath. Maybe I need to stop eating fast food. But, so we were talking about that, and I was talking about, before the break, we were talking specifically about specific, I'm doing it again. We're talking about specific chain restaurants. So we're talking about the restaurants in specific. There we go. That's the words that are trying to come out of my mouth today. But so we were talking about that, and we talked about Subway, we talked about KFC, and we talked about McDonald. But let's bring it on over to BK, Burger King. So most of you, maybe some of you will remember this burger. I do for sure. And this was the burger that was black. It was a Halloween special, I believe in 2014. Yes, in 2014. And it was a black squid ink burger. And it was a limited time only for customers in Japan. And this was the Kuro burger, or black burger, which included black cheese made from bamboo charcoal and a black squid ink sauce on a charred black bun. Now, I thought this thing looked so cool. You know, obviously I can't try it. I don't live in Japan. I am in the United States. So I couldn't try it, but I saw all the hype surrounding this specific burger. And it's cool, and a lot of people, places, do this kind of, like, black food thing. But my only issue with a lot of these black food things is the fact that they're using charcoal in a lot of this. And charcoal is used to induce vomiting. And I don't know, it just makes me feel like I'm going to induce vomiting. Probably not this one as much, because it is made from bamboo charcoal, and it's only the cheese versus the majority of it being made with the squid ink sauce. So I don't know. I thought that I would bring this up since every time I see it, I'm like, that looks fantastic. But I've never tried it. If you were in Japan when this was happening, or somewhere that was doing this burger, let me know on the social medias. I'm always on them at GSMC_Weird News on Twitter and GSMC Weird News Facebook page. I'm always on those. I want to know if you guys have tried this and if it even tasted good. That's what I'm more curious about than anything. Now let's move on to the number one mall food, Cinnabon. So Cinnabon is known, like when you're walking through the mall, you just smell it, and then you're like, man, that smells so good, so cinnamon, delicious, sugary goodness. But that's to reel you in. That's a real thing. They reel you in with these smells, and half the time they're not even baking the Cinnabons themselves. So what they do is Cinnabon actually bakes empty cookie trays that are covered in their cinnamon sugar mixture, so that the smell kind of wafts throughout, making you want to go and get Cinnabon. Tricky, Cinnabon. For real. No wonder every time the entire area in whatever mall your Cinnabon is in smells like cinnamon and deliciousness. It's probably because it's just cinnamon sugar. That's kind of crazy, but also a very, very, very smart marketing tactic. A good way to bring in customers. Now let's talk about Taco Bell. So apparently Taco Bell was sued for calling their taco filling meat, which that sounds terrifying, just saying it that way. So in 2011, a law firm in Alabama sued Taco Bell, saying that the chain's taco filling couldn't be called beef since it contained more oats, seasoning, and fillers than actual meat. So Taco Bell fought back against the charges along with slightly changing the wording on their advertising. And because they fought back and changed the wording ever so slightly, the case was actually dropped against them. So yeah, just ew. So what was it? I made tacos the other day, and I bought the Taco Bell seasoning because it's the cheapest like taco seasoning at the store, and I was not about to make my own taco seasoning because I was lazy. And it tastes nothing like Taco Bell, and I don't know if it's really the seasoning that's the issue or if it's the fact that I'm just using straight up real good beef instead of beef with more oats and fillers than anything. So I thought that was kind of interesting and really weird that, you know, I don't know, this Alabama law firm was like, excuse me, your beef is not beef. Your meat is not full meat. So I don't think you can say that. That's kind of crazy to me that, like, it's creepy, especially when you say it like they were sued for calling their taco filling meat. Like, that's kind of disgusting when you think of it in like those terms. But yeah, I mean, that's disgusting, but I don't know if it's going to stop me from eating Taco Bell and their nasty whatever filling. Let's move on to KFC once again. So KFC's secret recipe is actually like super top secret. The ads are not exaggerating when they're claiming the 11 herbs and spices, used in their seasoning and their secret chicken stuff. There are actually two separate plants that create half of the mixture, and then a computer does the mixing, ensuring no single location has the full recipe. That's insane. So there's no actual location that has the full recipe for the KFC. It's all done by computer, so they don't actually have the ingredients of what's inside it. That's kind of crazy to think that, like, people working actually don't know the real, you know, ingredients when it comes to what they're making. But let's talk about a fun fact that I already knew, and I thought you guys would kind of like. This is a Twitter fact about KFC. KFC is only following 11 people, and that's all the Spice Girls. And the rest of the people they follow are people named Herb. That's not even a joke. I'm looking at it right now. So they follow Herb Schneiber, or Scribner. Then they follow all our Spice Girls. And then Herb J. Wesson Jr., Herb Waters, Herb Dean, Herb Sendek, and Herb Alpert. It's real. I think that's a great marketing tactic, honestly, that they only follow 11 people and it's spices and herbs. Like, it's so cute. But, maybe they know the secret? No, I doubt they know the secret. I think there's probably a very few amount of people who work at their, like, major distributing areas that know what goes into this and what doesn't. KFC, you are tricky, my friend. But obviously, as we talked about earlier, these secret recipes are still not up to par with the Colonel himself, since he ended up opening a completely different restaurant to compete with his already multi-billion-dollar restaurant. I don't know. The more I research into KFC, the more I realize that it's a mess in there. There's a lot going on behind KFC doors, and it's very it's just, there's a lot going on. I don't know what else to say about it than that. Oh my gosh. KFC is a very confusing and strange world. Now, I'm going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to continue on with our weird facts about fast food restaurants and chains and whatnot.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Podcast. Now, this entire podcast, we've been talking about weird fast food facts. Weird facts about fast food, just weird facts about fast food restaurants, fast food in general, that goodness. Now, let's take it on back to Subway. Now, we talked about Subway being sued over the fact that they were saying that they had foot-long subs, but they were only 11 inches. Now let's talk about Subway's bread. Now apparently Subway's bread used to contain a chemical that was also found in yoga mats. Until 2014, Subway's bread contained, I'm gonna butcher this word, I am so sorry, azodicarbonamide. Yeah, that chemical. If I spell it, it's gonna take 10 minutes. So, we're going to move on. And that's a chemical that's found in yoga mats, like I said. And the chain actually signed a pledge to discontinue its usage after food blogger Food Babe got 78,000 signatures on a petition demanding they remove the chemical from the food. So good on you, Food Babe, for getting this, because that is absolutely disgusting. Like, people joke, and I know I've joked a lot of times with friends or what have you about the fact that, you know, oh, fast food is plastic or fast food is this and that, you know, joking about something. And this was real until 2014, which I was eating Subway before 2014. So that's disgusting. But let's move on to our favorite food. Just kidding. It's the same chain we've been talking about majority of this time, which is McDonald's. And we're talking specifically about Senior Ronald McDonald. Now, remember how we said that it was said that about 90% of American children have McDonald's at least once a week? Well, according to the Fast Food Nations, 96% of children worldwide, actually recognize Ronald McDonald, making him the most recognizable fictional character in the world, followed by Santa Claus. How is Santa Claus not more recognizable than Ronald McDonald? Santa Claus is warm, inviting, and nice. Ronald McDonald looks terrifying, especially this photo that I found. I don't know. Ronald McDonald's kind of scary. Now let's move on to something we haven't talked about yet, or somewhere we haven't talked about yet, and that's Dunkin' Donuts. So apparently you're going to get a fresh cup of Joe or of Dunkin' coffee at Dunkin' Donuts every time. So I hate the taste of burnt coffee, and apparently so does Dunkin'. According to Dunkin' Donuts, the chain's coffee is freshly ground, freshly brewed, and most importantly, freshly served. If it's not used within 18 minutes, Dunkin' Donuts coffee is discarded and a new one is freshly brewed. So that's actually kind of amazing. I love Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin', good gosh. I love Dunkin' Donuts coffee. I'm getting more into coffee as I age. I was never really a big coffee drinker, but I found that I prefer Dunkin' Donuts coffee over majority chain coffee in general because it tastes delicious. And when I go back from having a Dunkin' Donuts coffee to having something like a Starbucks coffee, I realize that Starbucks to me tastes a little burnt. And I don't know if that's like, if they do the same thing, which I really don't think so, or if it's just the coffee itself, or what it is, but that's how I feel, and I really appreciate the fact that Dunkin's like, oh, if it's not used within 18 minutes, we are scrapping that, and we are getting you some fresh coffee. Love that. That's a good one. That's one that's really nice, honestly. Like, that's probably one of the nicest ones that we've heard thus far throughout this entirety of this podcast. Now that we've talked about nice things, let's bring it on back to things. And let's talk about decay. So apparently you may have heard that the Big Mac from McDonald's can sit for as many as 12 years without any sign of decay, which many people pointed this as evidence of fast food's unhealthy qualities. But while you can't argue that the Big Mac is not good for you, Serious Eats found out that homemade burgers also don't rot given the right conditions. So it really depends on the conditions and not so much the fast food itself. So that's just how it goes. Just saying. So don't believe that, a Big Mac can sit for 12 years without any sign of decay. Not real, just kind of gross. I don't know what that laugh was, and I apologize. But let's move on to something that was terrible and is no longer. So let's talk Papa John's. We haven't talked pizza at all yet, which that counts as fast food. It comes to your door. So apparently Papa John's actually ended a practice that is really cruel to animals. So, they have sworn to stop sourcing from farms that use gestation crates, which are tightly confined crates that keep the pregnant sows from being able to turn around at all. And it seems kind of crazy that this is even a practice in general, but the positive thing about this is Burger King, McDonald's, and Wendy's have also committed to stopping this practice. In fact, many different fast food companies pledged to only serve cage-free eggs just in general in the near future, which is really, really nice. And I thought this would be kind of a good one to throw in here because this is weird and something that I didn't even know was a thing, which are these gestation crates. I guess it's just something that you don't think about when you're, thinking about where your food comes from. You're not thinking about where the animals are being held and how they're being held and whatnot, unless you're really looking into it, and then you just get sad. But it's nice that all these different fast food joints, fast food restaurants, whatever you want to call them, have kind of pledged to go a better route for the animals themselves. And so I thought this would be really nice to throw in here, especially right after we talked about the fact that burgers don't really rot, which is gross, whether it's fast food or not. So, and don't test this because that's gross. Just don't test that. But I do really enjoy the fact that these companies have come and brought to light that this is a bad practice and this has been happening, and that they're going to do everything in their power to turn the other cheek and go the better route when sourcing their food, when it comes to cows or when it comes to serving only cage-free eggs and that kind of thing. I don't know. I enjoy that kind of stuff when fast food restaurants who are just, they're just looking to get product and sell product like rapid, go, 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 go. It's kind of nice to see that they're going to take the time to think about the ethics behind what they're doing and where they're getting their products from, which, I don't know, I thoroughly enjoy. And I thought you guys would kind of enjoy this too, and it would be an eye-opener, and I know that a lot of people nowadays go more of a plant-based route, or they go more of a vegan or a vegetarian route or what have you, but even if you're just if you're not going vegan, vegetarian, or any of those routes, but you just want to eat things that are sourced in a good way, it's nice to know that a lot of these fast food places aren't doing that anymore and are doing things that are a little better, so you don't feel so guilty and so sad about going to these, fast food places and where the food might be coming from. Just thought that would be kind of nice to talk about. Now, I'm going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to finish up with some more weird facts about fast food.
The GSMC Life and Happiness podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back to the GSMC Weird News podcast. Now, this entire podcast, we have been talking about weird fast food facts. I keep making myself out of breath at the beginning of each of these after breaks. Who am I? I need to go for a run or something. I don't know. I need to go hula hoop or something. But let's move on to some more weird food facts and keep this train a-going. Chugging along. So let's talk once again about Subway, but instead of suing and stuff yoga mat bread, let's talk about the fact that Subway actually once held a world record, and they held the world record for sandwich making. So apparently the most people making sandwiches simultaneously is the actual world record. And it was held by Subway for 2 years when 1,481 people synced up their sandwich making at their annual convention to break this record. Now, this record was broken in 2016 by Tango Tab and Friends with 2,586 sandwiches made simultaneously. That's kind of cool that they held a world record, and just in general, I don't know. The world records are weird. Maybe we should do a whole podcast on weird world records. I think we should. Now let's move back on over to, once again, McDonald's, the king of fast food. I guess he's not the king. Isn't that the Burger King? I don't know. The clown of fast food. I don't know. But let's talk about McNuggets. So we need to thank taste testers in 1983 for taste testing the McNugget, because otherwise we would be eating onion McNuggets today. So McDonald's still served onion McNuggets, but they were very short-lived. But apparently that was a thing before the McNugget itself became the McNugget. Now, speaking of McDonald's, you're actually probably less than 100 miles from a McDonald's right now. If you're anywhere in the continental U.S., you're never more than 115 miles away from a McDonald's. And that's not surprising, but the only place that is actually more than 100 miles away is an empty plain in South Dakota. So unless you're from this empty plain in South Dakota, you are never more than 115 miles away from a McDonald's, which is not surprising. There's a McDonald's on almost every corner, like Starbucks. I do assume that Starbucks is actually, you're never more than less than that from a Starbucks. But let's take it back a little bit and remember how we talked about Ronald McDonald? Now, let's bring it on to my favorite genre, which is horror. So apparently Burger King Russia filed a lawsuit against the movie It in 2017, saying the scary clown Pennywise violates advertising laws because he is an exact copy of Ronald McDonald, which is Burger King's rival mascot. First off, I have a lot of questions about this. First, why is Burger King Russia filing a lawsuit and not McDonald's? And second, have you seen Pennywise? He is nothing like Ronald McDonald. No matter which Pennywise you're looking at, whether you're looking at the Pennywise that Tim Curry did, or you're looking at Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise. I mean, I've got Pennywise tattooed on my foot. I have the new one with a little bit of old one on my other that connect, but that's besides the point. I look at Pennywise every day, and Ronald McDonald still scares me more. I'm just saying, I don't think that this was worth a lawsuit, and especially worth a lawsuit via Burger King. I'm very confused on why Burger King filed this lawsuit, and I don't know. It's weird. Let's move along. Let's bring it on back to Arby's, which we haven't talked about in a minute. And apparently Arby's actually holds a world record as well. And Arby's holds the world record for the longest commercial ever aired. Their 13-hour and 5-minute spot aired in 2014 in Duluth and is a single shot of a beef brisket being smoked, proving to the public how dedicated Arby is to their sandwich. There's brisket one in specific. This cracks me up. First off, how did they get a 13-hour and 5-minute spot on TV, especially in 2014? And wait, what? I don't know. That's kind of ridiculous. Let's move on to another Arby's fact. And let's talk about Pharrell. So Arby's actually bought Pharrell's hat. You know that hat. Everybody knows that hat, that weird Mountie hat. Well, after Twitter noted that Pharrell wore his hat, that was the big hat in 2015 in the Grammy performance, and people were noticing that it resembled the Arby's logo. The singer, ended up listing the hat on eBay to raise money for charity, and Arby's bought the hat for $44,000 and $44,100. I don't know why I couldn't get that out. There's actually a tweet from Arby's which cracks me up, and it says, hey Pharrell, can we get our hat back? And it says, and it's like hashtag Grammys. That's too funny, and also great marketing tactic. So I guess that they have Pharrell's hat, and I'm really curious if the hat is like displayed at like Arby's headquarters or something like that. I don't know. I think that's a lot of fun. So we talked about Arby's. Let's bring it on to chicken nuggets in general. So not so much just a specific chicken nugget, but chicken nuggets in general. Because in 2013, researchers published a study in the American Journal of Medicine looking at the age-old question, are chicken nuggets really chicken? And the answer is yes, but they found that the nuggets actually contain very little meat and are mostly the bird's bones, fat, and tendons. Does this surprise me? No. Is it really strange? Absolutely. I don't know. I just think that this is, it's good to know, but I'm also not surprised that it's not majority, chicken meat, and there's a lot of other things in there as well. Not surprised, real strange, but not surprised. Now, let's move on to something that we actually haven't talked about, and that's money. So let's talk about the amount of money that Americans spend a year. So, we often say that it's the more affordable option, but most of the time, it becomes pricey when you're continuing to pay and buy, fast food. So apparently the average American actually spends $1,200 on fast food a year. So we're spending about $1,200 on fast food a year. And that's not surprising to me. And I feel like that number is low. I don't know. Tell me what you think, if you think that number is low, or if you think that pretty much sums up how much you think, if you are an American, you spend on fast food a year. I know that majority of people really, we all buy fast food. We all spend a lot of money on fast food, and that's just how it goes. I do know some people who do almost everything in their power not to, but sometimes it's just there. So I think that this number, I guess, as a whole number, even for people who don't buy fast food often, kind of is correct in a sense, but I also think it's still a little bit low. But I want to know your guys' thoughts on all of these weird facts that we talked about that have to do with fast food. If there's any weird facts about fast food that I didn't talk about, or if, you know, you've got weird facts about fast food that maybe aren't talked about at all. I want to know, and I'm always on the social media. You can let me know on the Twitter, which is at GSMC_Weird News, and on the Facebook page, which is the GSMC Weird News Facebook page as well. Always on those. Love to talk to you about whatever you want to talk about. I'm there. I'm here for you. Come send me a chat. Let's talk about some stuff. And I want to thank you guys so much for listening to me ramble about fast food today and bearing with me through my way too much caffeine in my system today. And I want to thank you once again so much for listening to the GSMC Weird News podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Colleen, and I'll talk to you in the next one.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.